everyone. In today's video we are going to start with our module 4, that is input modeling. It is very important. Okay, so what do you mean by an input modeling? First, actually input model, okay, input model is one which distributes the input data for a simulation model. Okay, if you have to just do any of the simulation model, then it needs a input, is it not? Without data it cannot do anything. Okay, the model which distributes the input is called as your input model. The process is called input modeling. Here the quality of the output is no better than the quality of inputs. That is, the quality of output is directly proportional to your quality of inputs. If the quality of input is good, then the quality of output is good. If the quality of input is bad, then obviously the output will not be proper. Is it not? See, for example, if you are just constructing a home, then the quality of the materials are good, then house will be having a long life. If the quality of the materials are not good, then we may not say when the house is going to collapse. Is it not? In the same way, input should be proper for any of the models. Just for example, in queuing systems, you have studied the queuing systems, is it not? Here the input models are distribution of time between the arrivals, the time between arrival and the service time. In inventory system, you will just distribute the demands, is it not? For example, some 2 demands, 3 demands are there for some product, then that will be distributed. That is the input. For the lead time, here mainly this is very important. There are 4 steps in development a useful model of input data. This is commonly asked question in exam. This is very important. Yes, very first step is collect data from the real system of interest. Okay, first what you have to do, you have to just get the requirement, and then according to the requirement you have to collect the data. Is it not? Data collection, we can just say it as data collection from the real system of interest. This requires a substantial time and resource commitment. I have just told you, first you have to just take the requirement. According to that, you have to just arrange the resources and you have to just fix the time slot, everything you have to do. Next, what you have to do, identify a probability distribution to represent the input process. See, we have discussed so many probability distributions: discrete probability distribution, continuous distribute probability distribution, is it not? You have to just decide which probability distribution to represent the input process, whether it is distributed or continuous. Next, choose parameters that determine a specific instance of the distribution family. What are these parameters? See, for example, we have studied so many distributions from this continuous distribution and the discrete distribution, that is uniform, Poisson, Weibull, triangular, all those things. You have to just determine the specific instance of the distribution family, which distribution family you are going to use for that particular thing you have to decide. Next, the last and final is evaluate the chosen distribution and the associated parameters for goodness of fit. This is very important. Goodness of fit. What do you mean by this one? Whether it is fitting all the requirements, whether it is good to fit all the, or whether it is good to satisfy all the requirements or not. If so, you have to accept, or else you have to reject, and again you have to go for this one. You have to choose different probability distribution, you have to choose different distribution family, and then you have to check. Once this is failed, again you have to go back to the step 2 and do all the things again. Okay, now we'll see this goodness of fit. What is this goodness of fit? Okay, goodness of fit may be evaluated informally via graphical methods or formally via statistical tests. Statistical tests are nothing but we have already studied: inverse transform technique, acceptance and rejection technique, chi-square test, KS test, that is Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. All those things we have studied. Those are statistical tests. Here we will do it formally, not informally. Okay, formally we will use the statistical test. The 2 standard statistical tests we use for this goodness of fit is your chi-square test and Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. This is very important. Okay, in chi-square we'll test with Poisson distribution and exponential distribution. These are the distribution families we are using with chi-square test. Okay, Actually, this goodness of fit will just provide you the helpful guidance for evaluating the suitability of a input model. Means you can just evaluate whether the input model is suitable or not. If it accepts, then the input model is suitable. If it not accepts, then no. Again, you have to go for the probability, and then you have to choose all the things from the beginning. Now we'll move on to the first test, that is chi-square test. It is very, very important. Is chi-square goodness of fit test. Why we use this one? We use this test to test the hypothesis. Okay, that a random sample of size n of the random variable follows a distribution form. Means in order to check whether it follows the specific distribution form, means hypothesis follows the distribution form, we use this chi-square test. And this test is valid only for large sample of sizes. If you have large sample sizes, then you have to use the chi-square test. If you have less sample sizes, no need to use this chi-square test. Directly you can just have this one. And this chi-square test can be either discrete or continuous, but always we'll use the continuous distribution here. But it may be discrete or continuous. Okay, here the first, how the test will begin. Okay, the test procedure begins by arranging n observation into a set of k class intervals. Here we'll be having some n observation, that is n random numbers. First you have to set all those into class intervals. Here we'll find out this one, this chi-square, by using x0 square is equal summation I is equals to 1 to k oi minus ei whole square divided by e or ei. Already you have studied what is oi, what is ei and all in the previous modules. OI is the observed frequency and EI is the expected frequency. This expected frequency can be calculated using EI is equals to n into PI. N means it is the number of sample sizes. Okay, and this table will give you the conditions for number of class intervals. Means if it is 20 sample size, I have told you if it is less, then no need to apply the chi-square test. Is it not? 20 don't use. 50 means it may be having class intervals from 5 to 10. 100 it is 10 to 20. Greater than 100 square root to n divided by 5. Okay, always it should be k is less than equal to n by 5 square root of or square root of n to n divided by 5. Okay, let me go for the problem. This is actually very, very important. The number of vehicles arriving at the northwest corner of an intersection in a 5-minute period between 7 am and 7:05 am was monitored for 5 working days. The following table shows the resulting data. See, this is the arrivals and this is the frequency. For 11 arrivals, we have the frequencies. The problem continues. The question: test whether the given data follows Poisson distribution using chi-square test for goodness of fit with level of significance alpha is equals to 0.05 and Poisson assumption with alpha is equals to 3.64. See, this is very, very, very important to remember. Poisson assumption with alpha is different. Level of significance is different. Level of significance we use to check whether the hypothesis is accepted or not. Poisson assumption will take in order to just calculate the expected frequencies. Is it clear? Yes. Sometimes this will be given. Poisson assumption alpha will be given. Sometimes it is not given. I'll just tell you how you have to just calculate if this alpha is, this Poisson assumption is not given. Okay. Now let me take the problem. See, xi arrival we have taken from 0 to 11 from the table which is given in question. OI observed frequency, even this is also given in the question. Next you have to find out xi into OI and then P of xi, EI, that is expected frequency. EI is equals to P of xi into summation of OI, that is summation of OI. N into PI, I have told you. N means it is number of the what? What is here? Number of sample size. So here this thing will consider as n, that is sample size, and P of xi we have already calculated P of xi over here. Is it not? I'll just tell you how you have to calculate this P of xi also. So next oi minus ei, then oi minus ei whole square divided by ei. This is our chi square, that is x naught square. Now we have this one. Now I'll find out xi into oi. What is xi into oi? 0 into 12 is 0. 10 into 1 is 10. Then 9 into 2 is 38. Then 17 into 3 it is 51. Then 10 into 4 it is 40. 8 into 5 it is 40. Then 7 into 6 it is 42. Then 35. Again 40. 27. 30. 11. Okay. Just take summation of oi into xi. Just sum up all these things, you will get 364 for this one. Next, let me take this P of xi. What is this P of xi? The probability of arrival. We have a formula to find out this probability, that is P of x is equals to e power minus alpha into alpha power x divided by x factorial. This is alpha, means this is the Poisson assumption what they have given. This is alpha 3.64. I have just told you this will be also can be called as mean. Poisson assumption is not given. How will you just find out that one? This you can take it as alpha or you can take it as x bar. Both are called as mean. Sometimes they'll specify mean is equals to, sometimes they'll specify alpha is equals to, sometimes they'll specify x bar is equals to. All the things are same. Okay, if this alpha is not given, how will you calculate? The formula is summation xi into oi divided by summation oi. This is 364 divided by 100, that is equal to 3.64. Same value you are getting, 3.64. Here also 3.64. If it is not given, if it is given directly, you can write, no problem. Okay. By using this, you have to just find out P of 0 to P of 11. See, P of 0, P of 1, P of 2, P of 3, like that till P of 11 you have to calculate. You have to just show all the things. P of 0 is equals to e power minus 3.64 into 3.64 whole power x. What is this x? 0. Because in place of x I am taking 0 divided by 0 factorial. 0 factorial is what? 1. You will get it as 0.026. In the same way, we have to calculate for P1, P2, P3, all the things. I'll just write the values over here. You can calculate this. P of 0, it is 0.026. Now P of 1, how will you take? E power minus 3.64. 3.64 whole power 1, that is 1 divided by 1 factorial, that is 0.0955. Okay, you can write it as 0.96. So P of 1 is what? 0.096. In the same way, P of 2, 0.174. P of 3, 0.211. You have to show the calculation. 0.192, 0.14, 0.085, 0.044, then 0.020, 0.008, 0.003, then 0.001. This is, we have calculated P of xi, the probability of the arrivals, is it not? Now you have to find out ei. What is ei? P of xi into summation oi. Summation oi is 100, that is 0.026 into 100. You will get it as 2.6, 9.6, 17.4, 21.1, 19.2, 14.0, 8.5, 4.4, 2.0, 0.8, 0.3, 0.1. Okay, now OI minus EI. What is OI? OI is your 12, 10, 19. These are OI, and this is 2.6, 9.6. All these things are your EI. But before going for this one more thing you have to do. See here, P of XI. Yes, before going for this OI minus EI, what you have to do is you have to just find out how many K are there. What do you mean by this K here? K means here it is number of cells or number of class intervals. You have to just find out. You cannot take it as 11, is it not? Because it mainly depends on your Poisson assumption. The number of class K depends on this Poisson assumption. Alpha is equals to 3.64. What is the meaning of this? All the EI values should be greater than or equal to 3.64. If it is not greater than or equal to 3.64, then you have to just combine the things and you have to get 3.64. Greater than, value greater than 3.64. Are you getting? You have to just check all the values of EI, whether all the values are greater than 3.64. Let me check. 2.6 is greater than 3.64? No. What you have to do is, if it is not greater, then you have to combine the next one and then you have to make this as one class interval. Combinedly, you make it as one class interval. Okay, if you just add this one, what you will get? 9.6 and 2.6, you will get it as 12.2. These two are combinedly 12.2. Now it is greater than 3.64. Yes, 17.4 greater. 21.1 greater, 19, 14, 8, 5, 4.4, all these things are greater than 3.64. But come here, 2.0, 0.8, 0.3, 0.1. These four are less than 3.64. But one more thing, if you add this one, these four, still you don't get 3.64. See, 2.8 you will get, then 3.1, 3.2 you will get. But here 3.64. In this condition, if these lesser values are not giving you the value which is greater than 3.64, then take the previous value also. If you take this one, obviously you'll get the value which is greater than 3.64. For all the problems you have to do this. It is very, very, very important. 7.6. Now how many class intervals we have? Together I can take it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and all together 7. Now all these are greater than 3.64. This is the rules you have to remember. Now you go for OI minus EI. Here also you have to combine 22. Here these two you have combined. Here also you have to combine. See here, from here to here, 10, 16, it is 17. The corresponding OI for EI, corresponding OI values also should be combined. Because always the Poisson assumption 3.64, all the EI values should be greater than the Poisson assumption. Okay, now calculate OI minus EI. 22 minus 12.2. It is combinedly you have to take, it is 9.8. Next, here it is 1.6 minus 4.1 minus 9.2 minus 6 minus 1.5. Now combinedly you have to just take what value you'll get. It is 9.4. You'll get 9.4. With this, calculate OI minus EI whole square divided by EI. This whole square divided by EI, 12.2. That is 7.87, 0.15, 0.8, 4.41, 2.57, 0.26. then all these value will get it as 11.62. If I just do the total 27.68, you will get. This is how we have to calculate the table. Now find out the chi-square. X naught square is equals to summation OI minus EI whole square divided by EI. Already we have calculated the summation, that is equals to 27.68 here. Level of significance alpha is equals to 0.05 is given. Is it not? Now you have to just check x alpha comma k minus s minus 1. Level of significance alpha is given, that is 0.05. What is k? It is the number of intervals. I have just showed you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number of intervals, it is 7, minus s is number of parameters distributed. Number of parameters distributed here is only 1. Is it not? Then here minus 1. So I will get it as x naught square, x square 0.05 comma 7 minus 1 minus 1, that is 5. 0.5 comma 0.055 comma 5. You have to just check the value for this in table. You have to just check the table for that one. See, it is 0.05 and it is 5. See here, 0.05 to 5. Here you have to just take 0.05 and 5. What is the value? 11.070. So I will take 11.070. Okay. Now what you have to do? You have to just check whether x square is greater than this x alpha or it is less than x alpha. If it is less than, x square is less than x alpha, then you have to accept the hypothesis. If x square is greater than this x alpha, then you have to reject the hypothesis. See here, x naught square, that is 27.68 is greater than x alpha k minus s minus 1, that is your level of significance. 11.070 is greater than this less than 27.68. Is it not? So what you have to do? So reject the hypothesis. You have to just reject the hypothesis. Okay, this is your problem. The table will be provided in the exam. No need to just mug up the values. You cannot just do that also. The tables will be provided. Okay, by seeing that one, you have to just do this, all these things. This is very, very, very important. Minimum for 10 to 12 marks they'll ask. Okay, this is chi-square test using Poisson distribution. Fine. Next, I'll come up with exponential distribution for the same chi-square test. Thank you.